the button that kicked everybody out. Anyway, it's back on now. I was wondering, I was like, what the heck just went on? Yeah, so somebody far worse than Hank Johnson saying that he is worried about Guam tipping over and capsizing due to overpopulation. We got that coming up as well. What was the other thing that I had today? Oh, yeah. I've got to talk about this, and that's probably going to come up in the 5 o'clock hour. William Tong, he is joining the debate about election integrity, which is got to be the most laughable thing I've ever heard in my entire life. So he has a problem with whether or not citizens should be able to vote. Now, in Connecticut, I got to be honest. In my head, I'm saying to myself, nobody in Connecticut should be joining that conversation, right? That's not a thing. Connecticut's not concerned with whether or not they're going to continue to win elections in this one-party state, right? It's one-party rule. There's just no way. But William Tong has a problem with it. And he's joining. I would love to believe in my heart of hearts that he's just piling on because anything Donald Trump says he wants to turn, into something about him. And a lot of people, of course, and I've heard you guys say it over and over again, that he's angling for, a position to become governor of the state. I don't think he's got a shot in hell. First of all, let me explain to you why you don't have a shot, if I may. William, it's real simple. You are, you have the charisma of a doorknob. You are awkward and silly. You just are. Everything about you, you are like a walking dry heave. It's not attractive. Not that you're not attractive. I'm sure plenty of people like, I don't know, the short, chubby look. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of ladies out there who dig that, the guy who needs, a stepladder to get into an SUV. People might be into that. I don't know. I know my wife is not into short people, and I know a lot of other women are, but I know that there are women out there who really believe that you've got a chance in hell. There are some people who look at this picture, which I'm showing on Reese On The Radio, who think that this photograph of you is quite appealing, that this photograph of you doing something weird with your mouth that I cannot understand. It looks like you have a jawbreaker in your mouth, but of course this is you angrily screaming about something, this look that you do, because that's pretty much all you do. You're an angry screamer. You just remind me of everything about you says, get off my lawn. I'm uncool. I don't know. I look at this and I just go, why? I don't know. He's arguing and screaming and hollering about voter registration or about being a legal citizen in order to vote. And it's the dumbest argument to get into, which shows exactly how unsavvy guys like William Tong are. Now, he should know. As, by the way, if I'm giving out advice to Democrats, why fall for this bait? Like, do you really think that the American people want people who can't identify as Americans with a photo ID and a voter's registration card? Do you think this is an overwhelming winning issue for you anywhere? I know you've got a couple of radicals who probably believe that anyone should be able to vote. I know that you have a couple of outliers out there. But what do you think the polling data says about this? Overwhelming in the African-American community, they believe that people should be made to identify themselves before they vote. They really care about that stuff. They do. They care about it in ways you don't even know. And I know that people like you think that black people cannot get an ID. I know you think it's difficult for them, probably because you think that they're, I don't know, dumb, uninformed. They don't know how to work the internet. They don't know where the Department of Motor Vehicles is. I know you believe that. But I tell you, they do know. And they do have identification. They walk around with it all the time. It's how they get on planes. Yeah, and fly across the country. Huh? Have you never seen them at the airport fighting outside of the frontier gates? Brawling in Atlanta? Have you not seen them? All of those black people who you see beating each other at gate 32 at Frontier in Atlanta, Georgia. Yes. All of those people got ID. They all have ID to get into that area so they can beat each other up at the gate before they fly off to Freaknik or to whatever spring break resort they're going to. Yes. All of those people that you saw fighting on the internet at the airport, yeah, all of those folks had ID. You know? I mean, they just do. I know you don't believe that they do, but they do. You probably don't believe that, but I've got to play this audio for you when we get back about this whole ordeal with the ID, because those are the people they're concerned about the most. They think that African Americans can't get an ID to vote. I think it's impossible for them. I played this 2 years ago on there, but some of you are new, so I'm going to play it for you when we get back. From my good friend, Ami Horowitz, talking to liberals and African Americans, but then I repeat myself, about voter ID laws and being able to get an ID. You don't want to miss it. So if you're not listening, or if you are listening and you want to actually watch the video, join me at reasonotheradio.com. For some odd reason, I inadvertently stopped the broadcast, but we're back now. All right, let's get another check of the weather with Jason Catarinas. But first, Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Reese, thank you very much. Crashes all over the place this afternoon. Let's start off 84 eastbound in West Hartford, just prior to exit 40, Corbin's Corner. We have a crash taking out the right and center lane there and the exit-only lane, so stay left there. You are going to come into some delays now as you move into Farmington from exit 39A, or 39 now, all the way up to the accident scene. Once you get around that, just a little slow from 48 Capitol Avenue into the tunnel. Westbound 84 is tied up approaching the Bulkley Bridge out to 45 Flatbush. Southbound 91 delays 37 to 35. Again, 34 down to 32 A and B. If you're traveling northbound 91, you're going to see slow traffic from exit 16 in Meriden up to the up to exit 18, and then you'll see some slow traffic again, 20 to 21, Middletown into Cromwell. After that, good ride Hartford up into Windsor. 291 eastbound, an accident reported just prior to the Bissell Bridge, backed up to I-91 behind that. 2 eastbound's okay, Glastonbury into Marlboro. If you're heading into Middletown, 9 northbound, you've got slow traffic approaching approaching Harbor Park up to the Aragoni Bridge. 84 eastbound in Waterbury slowing 17 up to 22. Westbound 84 tight up 26 in Cheshire up to the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound Danbury tight 3 to 5. Again, 84 eastbound slowing in Newtown 9 up to 11. If you are southbound on the 95 in New Haven, you've got delays 46 down to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
For the rest of our Thursday, sunny to partly cloudy and breezy. The high of 51 will feel cool if you're in the shade when the breeze kicks up. Partly cloudy, chilly tonight, the low dipping down to 35. Not turning cloudy, but a bit milder on Friday with the high of 58. Friday night, a couple of showers, then a steadier rain developing. That'll lead into Saturday with occasional rain and drizzle, but mainly early in the day. Otherwise, the high of 55. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
And now, a WTIC news update.
4:30, good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. It's the opening of the 2025 Major League Baseball season. The Red Sox beginning another run on WTIC this afternoon. They're taking on the Rangers in Texas. The Yankees are hosting Milwaukee at the stadium. Bombers up 2-1 in that match. And the Mets getting underway in Houston facing the Astros. A new London police officer has been arrested again. Julio Gil Martinez arrested for the fourth time. He's on administrative leave after a domestic violence arrest last year. Governor Lamont says cuts that Health and Human Services is making will result in the slashing of $150 million in federal money earmarked for Connecticut. Says those cuts will make it hard to address various public health, mental health, and addiction services. 3 juveniles are under arrest in Wallingford. Police there say they scrawled racial slurs and other offensive graffiti on a building in town. Police say that investigation is ongoing and more arrests are expected. Top Republican and Democrat in the Senate, or on the Senate Armed Services Committee, they're now requesting an investigation into how Trump national security officials used the Signal app to discuss military strikes on Yemen. And the White House has pulled Congresswoman Elise Stefanik's nomination to be U.S. ambassador to the UN. That move made today. President Trump says Stefanik, he'd like to see Stefanik stay in Congress, given the GOP's tight margin in that chamber. Wall Street, Dow down 155 points today. The NASDAQ lost 94, and the S&P was down 18 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Do you know a veteran in need? After leaving the military, many veterans struggle to find their way home. Because to a veteran, home isn't just a place, it's an idea, a feeling. Nation's Finest understands the challenges veterans face. Through the VA's Supportive Services for Veteran Families program, we help veterans and their families struggling with rent, employment, and other housing-related costs. Today, Nation's Finest operates more than 30 locations in California, Arizona, and Nevada. For more than 50 years, we've helped thousands of veterans in these communities build happy, healthy, and purposeful lives. And our team is committed to supporting those who've served and their families for another 50. To get help, visit nationsfinest.org or call 1-833-468-9676. That's 1-833-468-9676.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours.
Hola, Jay.
Remember,
Hola.
SP broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Stay locked in. Reese on the Radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yeah, before I play this Ami Horowitz bit, because you guys, if you've never heard it before, if you've never seen it before, it's worth having to share with your friends. It's just an interesting view. And every time I play it, new people see it, and they're outraged every time. And I understand. I watch it, and I chuckle. It's the funniest thing I've ever heard or seen in my life. So we'll get to that in a second. First, I want to go to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. My good friend Robert is in Cheshire. Hello, Robert.
Reese, good afternoon. I'm going to bring you back to a conversation of sometime probably last week when you were talking about trains. And I thought you'd be interested to talk about Japanese trains, but I have no idea if you've ever been there.
No, never been, and I do love trains. You know that. And is this the bullet train you wanted to talk about?
It is the bullet train, the Shinkansen, as they call it.
Okay.
And having lived in Japan in the early 90s and having traveled there extensively in my work career over the years, I think you would be fascinated. I'm not a super train guy at the same time. Just the choreography of everything that happens with the trains in Japan would just knock your socks off. You go into Tokyo at any of the train stations, they have an above-ground loop line they call the Yamanote line.
Uh-huh.
And The conductors you've read about, of course, people pushing conductors, pushing people in with white gloves at 8 o'clock in the morning and that kind of thing. You see all of that. But the whole thing there is that with, in particular, the Shinkansen, the bullet train, or, of course, even with some of the other trains in Tokyo in particular, if your train is scheduled to leave at 11:31, for example, and your watch says anything different, reset your watch. They are that good.
Really?
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Now,
it's unbelievable.
Explain to me, because let me tell you one of the problems I have with the bullet train. Although I get the fascination with its speed, I mean, because that's the train itself, its mission is to get you to your destination faster. I understand that. My attraction to the train is, for me, it's structural. Like one of the best trains that I loved growing up was the final. Remember, like the train from Back to the Future Part 3. And that train, I remember seeing that at Universal Studios. They had a replica of it on the studios. And it's very, it's very detailed, but very beautiful. It's like an old train. And I love the old train cars and things like that. So for me, it's not a speed thing. It's the steam engine or the coal-fired engine. There are a bunch of those different ones that I love. What would be the thing that I would enjoy as a train enthusiast in this bullet train that's different or comparable to the old steam ones?
Well, that's actually, it's a reasonable question. I'm trying to transcribe that into my observations. So for example, they go 130 clicks. So what's that? over 100 miles an hour.
Okay.
And as they get into, as it's coming into a tunnel, for example.
Okay.
The engineering of the tunnel and the train and the tracks is such that you can feel the shock wave of the nose of the air as it's blowing into, as it's coming into the tunnel.
Okay.
And you'll feel it and hear it. As you pass another train through the tunnel, as it does happen occasionally, you'll feel the shock wave of that train going past you as well. The engineering of the tracks themselves and the track beds is such that they can boom along at 120 miles an hour is the top speed.
Yeah.
And you don't even feel it. You can literally sit there with a cup of coffee on your little seat table or whatever it might be, and not have any worries at all about it spilling. None whatsoever.
Now, I will say this. So I just watched a train movie, or a movie where a train was a big feature. In fact, it's a movie I talked about not too long ago called Narrow Margin. Stay on the line with me, Robert, because I'm going to ask you something that I hear some bullet trains have, but I want to understand if the bullet train you were on has this feature. All right, so stand by for me on the phone. I want to get to the bottom of that. Let's get another check of our weather and traffic with Jason Caterina and Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Bound on the Farmington West Hartford line between exit 39 and 40. The two right lanes are shut down. The right and center lane, also the exit-only lane to exit 40 is also shut down. You're looking at delays back to exit 39 behind that problem. Now, if you are moving into downtown after that, it's a pretty good ride. No major problems as you make your way down in toward the Bulkley Bridge. Now, on the westbound side of 84, you're slow from approaching the Bulkley Bridge out to exit 45 Flatbush Avenue. Southbound 91 delays from exit 37 to 35 in Windsor. Again, 33 down to 32A and B in Hartford. Another bump down by exit 28. And more slow traffic, 23 down to 22 in Cromwell. Northbound 91 is sluggish from the Middletown Rest area up to exit 22 in Cromwell from an earlier accident. That's just traffic that's remaining from that earlier problem, all bunching up now. 291 eastbound, an accident reported just prior to the Bissell Bridge. You're backed up to I-91. Behind that, 2 eastbound moving well Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound slowing Harbor Park up to the Aragoni Bridge. If you're traveling 84 eastbound into Waterbury, delays approaching 17 up to exit 22 in Waterbury. Westbound 84 sluggish, stop and go 25A up to the Mixmaster. Heading toward Danbury, 84 eastbound slowing New York, Connecticut line out to exit 5. And again, some slow traffic between exit 8 and exit 10 on the eastbound side of 84 in Newtown. The ride southbound 95 in New Haven slowing from 46 down to 43 in West Haven. And look for slow traffic now southbound Parkway from 60 down in toward the West Rock Tunnel. Still seeing some slow traffic now on the southbound side of Route 9. Looks like we've got some road work in New Britain between exit 35 and 33. The right lane is shut down there, so there are heavy delays behind that back to the 72 interchange. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Partly cloudy and chilly tonight. The low down to 35. Then cloudy for Friday. A little milder. The high 58. It'll be cloudy with a couple of showers. Then a steadier rain developing Friday night. The low down to 44. Saturday, breezy, occasional rain and drizzle, mainly early in the day, the high 55. A passing shower or two. Still on Sunday, a little cooler, the high of 50. All right, now it is 44 in New London. It's 50 in New Haven, 48 in Mansfield, and 48 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Do you know a veteran in need? After leaving the military, many veterans struggle to find their way home. Because to a veteran, home isn't just a place.
Really?
It's an idea, a feeling. Nation's Finest understands the challenges veterans face. Through the VA's Supportive Services for Veteran Families program, we help veterans and their families struggling with rent, employment, and other housing-related costs. Today, Nation's Finest operates more than 30 locations in California, Arizona, and Nevada. For more than 50 years, we've helped thousands of veterans in these communities build happy, healthy, and purposeful lives. And our team is committed to supporting those who've served and their families for another 50. To get help, visit finest.org or call 1-833-468-9676. That's 1-833-468-9676.
The self-proclaimed love child of Rush Limbaugh.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Sorry about that. Let me get back to Robert in Cheshire. So I watched this movie. I was on a Gene Hackman kick, Robert.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a movie that I mentioned a couple of weeks ago after his passing, a film called Narrow Margin, which predominantly is on a train going to in Canada, of all places. And there was a scene that I was watching that it clicked in my head, and I said, I know on this train there is a scene where he's fighting, I guess, one of the main villains, and they're on top of the train, and there is a part of the train where you can see it's sort of like an observation deck, so to speak, that you can see up on top of the train. If I'm right here, or help me if I'm right, isn't that one of the added features on the bullet train, that you can see sort of a panoramic view above you?
They may have that now. They did not, call it 30 years ago. And even in my travels over the last 20 years, I haven't done it for 10 years.
Okay.
But there are trains that are more, pedestrian types of trains.
Right.
They do go along, and they have viewing cars, and
Gotcha.
they have the one that my wife and I had a blast with at one point. Long story, but I won't tell it. We were over toward Fujiyama, Fujisan, Mount Fuji, and the conductor was seated as they would on the left side, but he had a massive, large, open, seemingly open, but glass enclosed cockpit, if you will, and the entire front car had access to seeing into that. So we got the same view he did, looking up toward Fuji. It was absolutely phenomenal.
That sounds great. Is it is it a technologically advanced sort of area in the piloting area of the train? Like, does it look, almost Star Trek, or is it very, fundamental?
I'm going to guess that on the newer trains, yes.
Okay.
On the older ones, no, it looked more along the lines of what we've all seen in movies of trains in whatever country and things of that sort. But again, the thing that always impressed me is the time, the adherence to time schedules,
right?
The motions. There are entire studies that have been done where the conductors are standing out on the conductor at the right time. They'll blow the whistle. They'll look back. They will point to wherever it is they're going, because they've learned that by pointing to one end of the track to the other end of the track, that they then will follow through and execute with whatever else the conductor has to do. It's really the entire level of safety that goes into it is the same as the level of safety that we do for our training of our airline pilots.
It sounds like, look, don't get me wrong. I look at them every time I see them. I say to myself, that has got to be amazing. I hope one day we get it here. I don't think we ever will. I think that's it's one of the projects that is very long.
No, it won't happen. Not to that level. You need to just simply spend a couple of dollars, fly yourself to Japan, plan to spend there 10 days minimum.
Yeah.
And, go to Tokyo, certainly, because that's, ultimately where you're going to go. Go to Haneda. Don't go to Narita if you can find a flight going into Haneda, which is downtown, essentially.
Uh-huh.
And then just go, and I'll be happy to give you any kind of consulting you want.
Please, I would totally, If I am, I'll definitely contact you. I've got your number. But I get you. You know what? It will probably, because I would love to venture into the bullet train thing. My appeal has always been for the older models, but I'm totally down. If this is the experience you say it is, especially that whole thing about going into the tunnel and feeling that sort of sonic boom into a tunnel,
that's actually, I didn't actually say that, but that's actually a very good description.
Yeah.
It's analogous to that. You feel it. It doesn't hurt your ears or anything. That's right. But you do actually know that you've just gone into a tunnel. And it's, I actually wound up staying at a hotel one night. We got stuck somewhere and we were looking out onto the Shinkansen track, watching them going through. Sometimes they would have through trains. Sometimes they have trains that stop. And the ones that were just booming through was just, it's magical.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be.
Up with a rusty spoon and love it.
I totally hear you. Thank you. I totally appreciate that, Robert. I appreciate the call because you got me venturing off into another place I normally wouldn't. And I think now my wife is probably happy.
If you don't wind up getting a Japanese stamp in your passport sometime in the next period of years, I'd be very surprised.
You got it, buddy. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Sir. Good day.
You too. So, okay, let me get to this Ami thing, Ami Horowitz. So he's been everywhere, from PragerU to he's got his own YouTube channel, and you can check out this stuff anywhere. But I want to play this for you because this is the argument that William Tong and many others on the left are going to make about voter ID and proof of citizenship. It's almost embarrassing. But then again, no one on the left in this argument is ever embarrassed about what they think of people they think are less than them. So if you haven't heard it before, sit back and enjoy. Ami Horowitz talking to California liberals about voter ID laws and why they are inherently racist. And then he talks to African Americans about the same thing. Why did I not play?
I'm Ami Horowitz, and I'm here in Berkeley, California to find out if voter ID laws suppress the black vote. Do you have an opinion on voter ID laws?
Yeah, they're usually pretty racist and they're bad.
I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Would you go as far as say those laws are racist?
For sure.
Do you think it suppresses the African American vote?
Definitely. Because they're less likely to have state IDs.
Minority voters are less likely to have the kinds of IDs that have been described or required.
These type of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other.
These types of people, he asked them about blacks and voter IDs. These types of people don't have access to DMVs.
Places where they can get identification.
You can always get IDs you do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay an internet service provider for certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works.
A lot of people have smartphones, but you might not have data.
For most of the communities, they don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware or they're not informed.
You heard it. That young liberal white girl said they're not informed. They just don't have the information on how to get an ID.
I also think there's a repression of black voting with how if you're a convicted felon, you're not allowed to vote and everything. And when you look at swing states like Florida.
That's right. African Americans can't get an ID or can't vote because 48 million of them are convicted felons. That's what she said. 48 million of them are convicted felons. Oh, and then she mentioned Florida.
That's a huge population of the like African Americans.
In Florida, a huge population of the African Americans have felonies. A huge population of the African Americans. These are all liberals, well-meaning white liberals. They love them. They love their blacks. They check their privilege. It's like, all you need to do is ask. Thank you, Melvin. That's what I say. All you have to do is ask. Now, again, here's Ami, who went to Harlem, East Harlem in particular, to talk to African Americans on the street about what you just heard. Ami, go ahead and repeat what I just said.
Now I'm here in East Harlem to ask black people their thoughts on what you just heard. Do you have ID normally? You carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID. Why would they think we don't have ID?
That's a lie. Why would they say that?
Do you have ID?
Yes.
Because I have my ID and my friends have their ID, so like, we know what we need to carry around.
Everybody that I know have ID. Like, that's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with, ID.
Do you know any black adult who does not have ID?
No, I don't.
Is it a weird thing to even say that?
Yes, it is.
What is this, some type of trick candy cameras?
I know, right? That's the only thing I brought with me.
Those are legit IDs. I heard a lot also that black people can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
Really?
What does that say to you?
I know it's at on 25th Street.
Do you know where the DMV is around you?
It's on 125th Street and 3rd Avenue, I believe.
You know how to get there?
Yeah.
Would you have a problem getting there if you had to get there?
No.
I know these sound like silly questions. You know how to get to the DMV?
Of course.
You know where it is?
Yes.
You can get there?
Uh-huh.
No problem.
No problem.
Just checking.
Okay.
And I also heard a lot that black people, especially poor black people, have no access to the internet, can't figure out how to use the internet.
That's just stupidity, honestly. Everybody has access to the internet. Even a little kid could figure out how to work the internet.
I had access to the internet for years.
You know how to use it properly, right?
Exactly. I do it at work. So, of course, I know how to use it. My kids know how to use it. They all have iPads, iPods, whatever.
Your phone has data? Mm-hmm. You can actually
unlimited.
Unlimited data.
Mm-hmm. I use my phone as a hotspot.
What does that say to you for the people who have this perception of black people?
Now, this is an interesting part of all of this. This is an interesting part. Because again, folks, every place you've ever been, especially if you watch, television or cable news, if you listen to us in the talk radio space, you know that it is often told to you that everybody is a Black Lives Matter activist and everything is racist. Okay, you've heard that over and over again. It's like, oh, those black activists, the first thing they do is scream that it's racist. I'm here to tell you that's all nonsense. Because these folks in Harlem are going to be asked by Ami about everything that those white liberals said. They got the perfect opportunity to call these people racist, and they don't.
They're pretty much ignorant. That's what my thought process on it.
I just think that's ignorant. Ignorant.
That's the word I hear a lot.
Ignorant.
Ignorant.
Very, very ignorant.
Does it sound racist for somebody to say that?
I think it is a little racist because, you're putting people in a category and you have no idea what you're talking about.
Maybe a little bit of racist in it, but like I said, I think it's more stupidity and ignorance.
Every one of these people could jump to the racist thing, but they gave them the benefit of the doubt. I wouldn't have. Oh, no, hell no. Every one of those people, you bigot, racist bastards. But these people, clearly more sound than I. They just said, yeah, I guess you would call it racist, but I think it's just ignorant. How sweet, and again, noble, kind, and generous of every one of them, just by calling them ignorant. Which, again, you think that they'd listen to Tong, William, Tong. You don't understand it. You don't understand that that's what you think of these people, and they're willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. Something you're not even willing to give them.
Judging somebody, but you judging them because they black, saying that they don't got it.
What people are they talking to? Who are these people talking to?
Not black folks. I'm sorry, sweetheart. The people they're talking to are their friends and their colleagues. They're clearly not talking to blacks because they believe that all of you are felons and you have no access to the internet. Remember what Kathy Hochul said? Kids in the Bronx don't even know what a computer is. Savages.
Do you have a problem that if you go to vote and they say, can we please see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are? Are you
Love showing my ID.
You got no problem with that?
Nope.
Would you have a problem if when you go to vote, if they say, can we please just see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are? Do you have an issue with that?
No.
Would you have a problem if there was a rule where you had to show your ID in order to vote?
I don't think so. No.
Would you have an issue if there was a rule saying you got to show your ID before you vote?
Nah.
You cool with that?
Yeah.
Again, completely makes no sense. William Tong, again, look, and I know he likes to throw the immigrant card out there. My parents came to this country, and I'm an immigrant, and I can speak for all of them because my experience is just like theirs. They're immigrants, I'm immigrants, we're all immigrants, and we all have the same story. And nobody should be forced to have to get an identification to prove who they are when they vote. Anybody should come in here and be able to vote for anything. Spare me. Yeah, no kids in there. Donald, thank you, Donald. Donald says that's why they lost the election. That's right. That's why. That's why. Mrs. Christine says, who are the real clueless? We are in trouble. Yeah. Was this in Cambridge? No, this was the first people were in Berkeley, California, Jason. The white liberals were in Berkeley, California. And then he went to East Harlem. He went all the way to East Harlem, coast to coast. And you would ask any one of those liberals, what they think of black people, and they would have had glowing reviews. Oh, black people? Oh, you're kidding me? 5-star, all of them. Are you kidding me? Black eyes every day. 5-star individual. Have you had any of their chicken? Oh, I'm sorry. Sometimes I'm so funny I get dizzy. Oh, we got to get to the weather with Jason Catarinas. But let's get traffic with Mark Christopher. He's in the BPS Traffic Center, and I know there's a lot of accidents out there. Hey, Mark.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on this afternoon. Thanks, Reese. Lots of incidents out here, and they just keep on coming. Let's start off 84 eastbound on the Farmington-West Hartford line. We have a crash right at exit 40, Corbin's Corner. The right center lane block and the exit-only lane to exit 40 block, so stay left there. Delays are back to 39 behind that. The good news is once you get around that, easy ride into downtown Hartford. Westbound 84 is tied up approaching the Bulkley Bridge, sluggish out to 45 Flatbush. Southbound 91's a little slow. Windsor 37 to 35, again 33 down to 32 A and B. Another bump 27 to 28. Delays again, 23 down to 22 in the Route 9 interchange. Northbound 91 in Middletown slowing from 20 up to 22 in Cromwell. After that, good ride up into Hartford and Windsor. 291 eastbound, got some slow traffic now from I-91 over to the Bissell Bridge. 2 eastbound's okay, Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound slowing approaching Harbor Park up to the Aragoni Bridge. 84 eastbound in Waterbury tied up approaching 17 up to the Mixmaster. Westbound 84 is slowing 25A in Waterbury up to the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound slows from the 684 interchange in New York State all the way out to exit 5 in Danbury. 84 eastbound again tied up in Danbury from 8 out to exit 11 in Newtown. Southbound Parkway, look for delays from 62 down into the West Rock Tunnel. South 95 slowing from 46 down to 43 in West Haven. And we have some road work right now. Southbound Route 9 between exit 35 and 33 on the New Britain-Berlin line. The right lane is out. Delays are back to 37B in New Britain. Behind that, try to avoid that area if you can, and traffic is barely moving at this point. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
For the rest of our Thursday, sunny to partly cloudy, breezy. The high 51 will feel cool if you're in the shade when the breeze kicks up. Partly cloudy tonight, chilly with the low down to 35. Now turning cloudy, but milder Friday with the high of 58. Friday night, couple of showers followed by a steadier rain developing. That leads into Saturday with occasional rain and drizzle, but mainly early in the day. Otherwise breezy, the high of 55. Sunday, couple of morning showers, occasional rain and drizzle for the afternoon, the high 50. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
5 o'clock, good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. A woman accused of keeping her stepson confined to their Waterbury home for 2 decades is due back in court Friday. Kimberly Sullivan didn't enter a plea during proceedings on Wednesday. The prosecution's looking to add conditions to his client's release, says attorney John Colitis.
The state has indicated that they intend to file a motion seeking to add some conditions to Ms. Sullivan's release.
Victim, now 32, says he set fire to their Blake Street home last month in order to be rescued. He weighed only 68 pounds when found, telling authorities he was pulled from school as a child, given little food, and sometimes forced to drink from the toilet. Sullivan is charged with cruelty to persons. Waterbury Police Chief Fred Spagnuolo called it the worst treatment of humanity he'd seen in over 30 years on the job. Top state Republicans want the Inspector General's office to expand to investigate government corruption. Here's WTIC's Dave Mager.
Republicans say not enough is being done to counter what they call corruption, including an admitted misuse of funds by State College's Chancellor Terrence Chang. This is House Minority Leader Vin Candelora.
And we're here to say enough is enough. We should be looking at criminal investigation of the activity from this chancellor, not continuing to have conversations of giving him more money in the current state budget.
The Inspector General's office investigates police misconduct. Republicans would expand it to address public corruption. Democratic State Rep Matt Blumenthal says that's the job of the bipartisan auditor's office and prosecutors.
The auditors, the investigators, and the prosecutors who are properly authorized to investigate and prosecute misconduct have done their jobs.
Dave Maker, WTIC 1080 News.
Formal call today for an investigation into the Signal chat leak that gave a reporter access to military attack plans. More from correspondent Aaron Navarro.
Yesterday, President Trump was asked if he supports the Inspector General looking into the Signal issue, which we just saw this morning is something that congressional leaders of both parties have called him to do. Trump did not oppose that. And this morning, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt did call it, quote, a mistake, and said that National Security Advisor Mike Waltz has taken responsibility while still looking to move past this story.
New London police officer already on suspension for repeated domestic incidents, now arrested a 4th time. The city's police chief says Julio Gil Martinez was picked up Wednesday by another law enforcement agency. The latest arrest comes on the heels of a 3rd arrest involving the veteran officer just days prior. Details of the latest arrest were not released. Gil Martinez was first arrested last November after arguments with his girlfriend allegedly turned physical. Measles cases appear to be on the rise. Correspondent Alex Tin.
Amid the record measles outbreak in Texas, which has now been linked to additional cases in Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Kansas, the World Health Organization says that U.S. health authorities have now formally notified them of the swelling outbreak, which has been deemed to be an unusual event with significant public health impact. It comes as regional health officials have been warning that record outbreaks in the United States, as well as in Canada, are now threatening the Americas' status of having officially eliminated endemic spread of the virus.
There's been another round of federal job reductions. This time, health agencies targeted.
The agency under Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says it will cut its workforce nationwide from 82,000 to 62,000. These latest cuts of 10,000 jobs come on top of the 10,000 earlier cuts through retirement and buyouts. The cuts to the Department of Health and Human Services will include jobs at the Food and Drug Administration, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and the National Institutes of Health.
Correspondent Linda Kenyon. Wall Street, the Dow down 155 points today. NASDAQ down 94. S&P down 18. On the radio, Red Sox and Rangers are tied at 1, top 4. Yanks lead the Brewers 2-1. John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Do you know a veteran in need? After leaving the military, many veterans struggle to find their way home. Because to a veteran, home isn't just a place, it's an idea, a feeling. Nation's Finest understands the challenges veterans face. Through the VA's Supportive Services for Veteran Families program, we help veterans and their families struggling with rent, employment, and other housing-related costs. Today, Nation's Finest operates more than 30 locations in California, Arizona, and Nevada. For more than 50 years, we've helped thousands of
Everything okay?
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the Radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we're back. Don't forget, we've got Negro Nonsense coming up. We got the last but not least caller of the day, so you got to pick up the phones and call 860-522-WTIC. That's 860-522-9842. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I totally forgot. We've got to remember that on April 2nd is National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day. So
it's peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly with a baseball bat, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly with a baseball bat.
So make sure you get to Between Rounds, any one of their 5 locations in, is it Tolland or Toland? Why am I keep saying it wrong? In Tolland, East Windsor, Manchester, Vernon, and South Windsor. Any one of those 5 locations, starting on April 2nd, every order of a Reese's Peanut Butter and Jelly Sandwich, $1 goes to our folks at the Friendly Hands Food Bank. That's why we have their sponsorship up here on the video. If you're watching the show, there is Between Rounds right there. And, of course, there is Friendly Hands Food Bank right there. So Karen Thomas at Friendly Hands Food Bank, a good friend of this show, supporter of this show, and we love her, and we are so glad that Between Rounds is partnering with them to do something good for charity. And again, you know, if this is a blowout, if this is successful, which I know you folks will, and I know that even though we're on the Odyssey app and a lot of people, you know, can't hear it, but we'll be talking about it for tomorrow during airing of Grievance Friday, and we'll talk about it, of course, until it comes up. So we're going to have a whole lot of fun with that. Also, remember to go to BetweenRoundsBagels.com. That's BetweenRoundsBagels.com. Any one of the locations. We got the last but not least caller of the day coming up. Yeah, thank you, Toland. I know. Try not to look at the word as Toland. Okay, Toland. Okay, I'm trying. I've always gotten it wrong. You should have heard the first time I had to say Haverhill. Oh my goodness! When I was in Boston, I said Haverhill. And that town went nuts. I thought they were going to come at me with, like, picks and chainsaws. It was that bad. Let's get another check of the weather with Jason Catarinas. But first, Mark Christopher's at the BPS Traffic Center. What do you think? Is there any idea of why it's getting so bad on the roads today?
I don't know. I've just been a bunch of string of accidents in construction right now that's slowing things down.
Oh, yeah.
But it looks like we have an accident clear on the Farmington West Hartford line, so that's good news. Yeah, Tolland, if you see Hebron, it's not Hebron. It's Hebron. Hebron, and it's not Worcester, it's Worcester.
Worcester. That much
Did you
I know.
ever mess up Worcester?
Never. See, because I know Worcestershire sauce.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, Reese, right now, if you're heading into downtown Hartford, 84 eastbound, you've got delays from 39 up to exit 40 Corbin's Corner. We had an accident at 40 Corbin's Corner. That has just cleared over the last few minutes, so you'll see delays there. Once you get around that, easy ride into downtown. Westbound 84 is slowing, approaching the Bulky Bridge out to 45 Flatbush, and again, a little slow from 42 out to exit 40 Corbin's Corner in West Hartford. Now, if you're traveling on the southbound side of I-91, look for delays from exit 36 to 35 in Windsor. Again, 34 down to 32 A and B in Hartford. More delays, 27 down to 28 in Hartford. And a brief slowdown again getting by exit 23 in Rocky Hill. Northbound side of I-91, you've got slow traffic now from between 20 and 21 as you move Middletown into Cromwell. After that, good ride Hartford up into Windsor. 291 eastbound slowing from I-91 over to the Bissell. 2 eastbound's okay, Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound Middletown tight, Harbor Park up toward the Aragoni Bridge. Looks like we have an accident now on the northbound side of the Parkway now, and that looks like it's up in the usual spot in that construction area up by exit 68 and an E. And this one just coming in now. 91 northbound, we have another accident in Middletown between exit 20 and 21, so the left lane is shut down there. They just keep on coming. 84 eastbound this afternoon, you've got delays from 17 to 18 in Waterbury. Westbound 84 slows 25A up to the Mixmaster. Heading into New Haven, southbound Parkway slows from 62 down into the West Rock Tunnel. 95 southbound delays 46 in New Haven down to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Now, everywhere else I lived, Buchanan is pronounced Buchanan, but down in Southwest Virginia, it's pronounced Buckhannon. And there's all kinds of wacky stuff down there. You wouldn't believe it. It's been a beautiful day, lots of sunshine, very pleasant for us. Partly cloudy, chilly tonight, the low dropping down to 35, turning cloudy as we make our way into Friday, but a little milder, the high 58, then a couple of showers, then a steadier rain develops Friday night, the low down to 44. Occasional rain and drizzle Saturday, mainly early in the day, otherwise breezy and mainly cloudy, the high up to 55. A passing shower or two Sunday as well, a little cooler, the high down to 50. Rain at times Saturday or Sunday night rather, then mostly cloudy and milder Monday. Periods of rain in the afternoon, so keep the umbrella handy, but the high jumping up to 67 on Monday. Right now, it is currently 51 in Danbury, 47 in Waterbury, 49 in Bristol, and also 49 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.f.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Reese on the Radio is getting ready to drop some knowledge on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Drop it. Oh, yes. Let us drop some knowledge, but let's drop the kind of knowledge that offends everybody. Oh, it's my favorite day of the week. I'm sorry. The truth is, I care about this more than I care about airing of grievances. Even though I like that day, I like this more. It's time for Negro Nonsense.
Negro Nonsense. Negro Nonsense. Negro Nonsense.
Negro Nonsense. Here's some good stuff for you.
We have some breaking news right now at noon. The Georgia State Senate is launching an investigation into former gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams and a voting rights group she founded. Atlanta News First can confirm the inquiry coming after the group, the New Georgia Project, admitted to illegally helping her 2018 campaign for governor. Abrams, who lost 2 bids for the governor's seat, has distanced herself from that group, which has agreed to pay $300,000 in fines. The Senate Special Committee on Investigations will now look into the relationship between Abrams.
Yeah. So if the group has already paid a fine, that means they are admitting guilt in some way. And that means that Stacey Abrams is probably going to see a little bit of prison time. Quite likely. Because they're not playing with her anymore. It's over. All that DEI, not prosecuting these people, that is over. But Nancy said she was the governor. Not anymore. She's about to be the governor of prison. That's what she's about to be. But not to be outdone, ladies and gentlemen. We have more.
Negro Nonsense. Negro Nonsense. Negro Nonsense.
As I told you earlier, Hank Johnson made one of the biggest faux pas in public as a uneducated individual, not understanding how islands work, he's under the impression that an island floats on the water. How he got that impression, I have no idea. But this guy represents a constituency. And you might remember that time when someone, I think it was the Army Corps of Engineers guy, was asking the question about he asked him the question about overpopulation, because that's a big deal to the left. You know, they're always worried about overpopulation and climate change. Well, he was concerned about all the population that was probably going to cause the island to do something insane.
My fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
Every time I play that clip for someone in my personal life, they go, he's joking, right? He was doing that as a joke. Like that didn't really happen, right? And I would find the clip in other places and it was like, oh my goodness. And they never talk about it again. I'm sure they never shared it with their friends either. That's okay. But folks, Hank Johnson has not been outdone. He's not been outdone. Because Jasmine Crockett has actually joined Hank Johnson in the most nonsensical sentence known to man with regards to the Second Amendment. And she did it at a congressional hearing. Here is Jasmine Crockett talking about the Second Amendment. If you are at home and you can record this, please share it with fans of Jasmine Crockett.
One thing that I haven't heard since I've been here is anyone read the actual language of the Second Amendment, and I may have missed it, but it's curious to me that it starts off with a well-regulated militia. And it seems like every time we get a bill, and I will read the whole thing, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It starts off with a well-regulated militia, but every time we get a bill, it seems like that bill is all about getting rid of regulations. And it seems as if there's never a real conversation around why we need regulations in this country.
Yep. She said that the Second Amendment talks about a well-regulated militia, and she's trying to figure out why gun advocates fight against regulations. I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. Polly says, good point. I don't think she understands the difference between regulations. Just listen.
One thing that I haven't heard since I've been here is anyone read the actual language of the Second Amendment, and I may have missed it, but it's curious to me that it starts off with a well-regulated militia. And it seems like every time we get a bill, and I will read the whole thing, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Now, what she doesn't understand here is a regulated militia is a militia that knows how to use its arms. She thinks it means a militia with regulations. That's what she thinks.
It starts off with a well-regulated militia, but every time we get a bill, it seems like that bill is all about getting rid of regulations. And it seems as if there's never a real conversation around why we need regulations in this country.
Yeah. Why won't we have a real conversation about having regulations in this country when the Second Amendment says that those who have the right to bear arms are established by a regulated militia. I'm not kidding. This woman went to a school that would cost her at least, I think, $35,000 a year. I think maybe it was 33. She went to a school that cost that much money, and they are calling her smart as a whip. But that's what she said. Now, I'm going to have to ask, who wore it best? And when I say wore it best, who wore the stupid best? Was it Jasmine Crockett or Hank Johnson? Let's try it again. Hank Johnson, Guam will capsize. Jasmine Crockett, a regulated militia.
My fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
One thing that I haven't heard since I've been here is anyone read the actual language of the Second Amendment, and I may have missed it, but it's curious to me that it starts off with a well-regulated militia. And it seems like every time we get a bill, and I will read the whole thing, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It starts off with a well-regulated militia, but every time we get a bill, it seems like that bill is all about getting rid of regulations. And it seems as if there's never a real conversation around why we need regulations in this country.
Lori says it's a tie. I'm going to give the edge. I'm sorry. Maybe it's me, probably because there's always going to be a warm place in my heart for capsizing islands. I would have never thought it. There's a childlike wonder to Jasmine Crockett in a regulated thing. It's, not understanding English. She's so busy speaking slang that actual English sort of, throws her for a loop, Like she's so busy sister girling it up that the English language may be, kind of an obstacle. But Hank Johnson, I don't know. The whole island will capsize thing, just in my head, I'm saying to myself, have you never been on an island? How do you not know how an island works? Do you not understand sea level? Hank Johnson, you've at least gone to Jamaica, right? Like, if you've never been to Guam, at least you've been to Jamaica. The Barbados? Trinidad? Hawaii? Have you at least gone to Hawaii? Reese is the new Gong Show. Donald says, Democrats has Jasmine. Meanwhile, Republicans have Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oh, come on. Now, let's be fair, Donald. Let's be fair. Marjorie Taylor Greene has maybe said some outlandish things, but has she ever suggested that an island may capsize? At least find me the clip. I'll play it. Find me the clip where she said something this off the wall. Just do that for me. The Southern Democrats were against slaves owning a gun. That's right. As most communist countries, an armed citizen can defend itself from a tyrannical government. I preach it all the time, Lori. The Patriots knew what they had with King George. They sure did. Let's go to the phones, 860-522-WTIC. Jeff is in Marlboro. How you doing, Jeff?
Hey, that was real quick. I just called.
What's up, buddy?
So the first time I ever heard that quote about Guam, I was reading this weird trivia book.
Okay.
And it was not a very reputable book. So I was like, I got to look this up. And I'm like, I can't believe somebody said something this stupid.
No one believes it when I tell them. Whenever I tell them about Guam tipping over due to overpopulation, everybody, it doesn't matter what walk of life they are, they look at me right in my face and go, there's no way he said that. Like, you're lying. They yell at me like I'm the one telling the falsehood. And then I play it for them, and then they go back to me and they go, no.
Yeah, that's true.
And they call me cruel for bringing it up, by the way. Go ahead.
But then the second the second quote there, who is that again? Is that Crockett?
Yes, Jasmine Crockett, a well-regulated militia. She is wondering why Republicans have a problem with regulations. Sorry.
Yeah, but she's also missing the second. She's also missing the point of the second part. Is it shall not infringe on the right to bear arms.
That's correct. That's what, and that in and of itself, like I said, anyone who had comprehension skills would understand. It would immediately revert you back to the first definition or the definition of a regulated militia. It would make you go back and say, well, wait a minute, those two don't seem to, they don't seem to square. Because you can't say that this means regulation and not be infringed, because it not being infringed means no regulation, right? In the argument she's making. So she doesn't understand regulated in that sentence, as the framers put it, was to say people who know how to arm themselves or how to use the weapons that they are arming themselves with, right? In other words, somebody who's proficient in the use of weapons.
Yeah, it means regular and disciplined. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what that means, and she didn't understand that.
One last real quick question.
Yeah.
Oftentimes you refer to her as Crockett and Tubbs, and I don't understand that. Could you explain that to me?
No, wait a minute. Come on, Jeff. You really don't get the reference. Now, that's my fault. You know what? That's my television brain showing. Crockett and Tubbs were the main characters on Miami Vice.
Oh, okay, yeah. That was just a tiny touch before my time. So.
Is it really? Miami Vice is before? Oh, you're a younger guy.
Well, no, I'm 46, but I didn't really watch the show. I think it was on when I was young. But
yeah, it was. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. It was always on at 10 o'clock, and it was a gritty crime drama. It was ahead of its time. It's right. Was it Michael Mann produced it? So it was always very dark. And they introduced sort of like they revolutionized the music video, if you will.
Yeah, I'm probably familiar with the show. As an older person, I've seen the reruns, I've seen the show, and I know what it is. But I didn't get.
But Don Johnson's character's name was Sonny Crockett, and his partner, which I can't think of what Tubbs' first name was. Somebody will tell me in the chat room. But yeah, it was Crockett and Tubbs, and that's whenever I hear Crockett. Joe, what's his name? Jesse Waters calls her, not to be confused with Davey, but it's kind of corny when he says that. I wish he would, since he listens to the show, he should start calling her Crockett and Tubbs, and people would at least understand it. Thank you.
That I get it. It's funny because I can picture the two. I know the two guys from Miami Vice, so
yes.
I can picture it.
I appreciate you, sir. Thank you. We're going to take a break. We got another check of the weather and traffic, and apparently the roads are insane out there. So stick around for that. And when we get back, we've got the last but not least caller of the day coming up. More news, more views. I got a bunch of other stories here to get to before we return, and we'll check the score. I'm sure John Vila will give us the score at the top of the hour news break, or bottom of the hour news break. Let's get to Jason Catarina and weather, but first, Mark Christopher. He's got the roads in the BPS Traffic Center. How are we doing out there, sir?
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Still dealing with a crash 91 northbound on the Middletown-Cromwell line between 20 and 21. Left lane block delays are back to the Middletown rest area. After you get around that, looking good. Cromwell through Hartford up into Windsor. Southbound 91 delays 35 down to 32 A and B, again 27 to 28. And again, you're going to see some slow traffic as you move from 20 in Middletown down to exit 19 in Meriden. Now, if you're on the westbound side of 84, delays East Hartford approaching the Bulkley Bridge, you're tight out to 45 Flatbush Avenue. 84 eastbound, slow traffic from 39A up to 40 from an earlier accident that's gone. And then you're going to see delays again, 44 Prospect Oakwood down to the Bulkley Bridge, a little slow again, 58 to 59 as you head out toward the 384 interchange. 2 eastbounds, okay, Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound slows Harbor Park up to the Aragoni Bridge. 9 southbound delays from 37B down to exit 33 in Berlin. The earlier road work that was taking out the right lane just cleared a couple of minutes ago, so that will start to ease out now. If you're traveling 84 eastbound into Waterbury, delays 17 to 18. Westbound 84 is running slow now as you move from Exit 25 in Waterbury up to the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound tied up from 684 New York State all the way out to exit 5 in Danbury. 84 eastbound slowing again 8 out to 11 in Newtown. Southbound Parkway delays 61 down in toward the West Rock Tunnel. Southbound 91's tight in New Haven from 6 down in toward the 95 interchange, and 95 southbound delays 46 to 43 in West Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC is celebrating 100 years on the air and 100 years of serving Connecticut. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
5:30. I'm John Silva. The forecast for tonight. We'll have partly cloudy skies, lows in the mid-30s. Cloudy on Friday, upper 50s. Could see some showers in here tomorrow night. And then on Saturday, we've got a chance of rain or drizzle to start and quite a temperature variation with a front nearby. We'll have highs approaching the 50s in some northern parts of the state, but could get as high as 70 to 75 in western parts of Connecticut and the coast. Currently 48 and sunny in Hartford. The New London police officer already on administrative leave for domestic violence against his girlfriend has been arrested yet again. Police Chief Brian Wright says Officer Julio Gil Martinez was arrested by another law enforcement agency on Wednesday. He was first arrested and suspended last fall. A Bethel man's been charged with manslaughter in connection with a fatal crash last year in Willington. 22-year-old Louis Marcantonio was charged. State police say he was traveling over 80 miles an hour in a 45-mile-an-hour zone last April along Route 32. The passenger in his car was not wearing a seatbelt, was ejected from the vehicle and killed. Wallingford police have arrested 3 juvenile suspects after racial slurs and graffiti turned up, scrawled on a building in town. The find made this week on the building on South Main Street. The 3 are facing various charges, including criminal mischief. Waterbury stepmom Kimberly Sullivan appeared in court briefly on Wednesday. She'll be back Friday. The prosecution is looking to add conditions to her release on bond. Attorney General Pam Bondi says the alleged leader of the MS-13 street gang on the East Coast was arrested in Virginia. 24-year-old from El Salvador, described as one of MS-13's top leaders in the U.S. And the top Republican and Democrat on the Senate Armed Services Committee are now requesting an investigation into how top Trump security officials used the Signal app to discuss military strikes on Yemen. Wall Street, the Dow down 155 points today. NASDAQ lost 94, and the S&P was down 18. Top of the 6th, all tied up between the Red Sox and the Rangers. Yanks leading Milwaukee at the stadium 2-1. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information.
Gotcha.
A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Stay locked in. Reese on the Radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We're back. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this story. If you've heard it, it's a huge headline today. Pam Bondi and Kash Patel were in Northern Virginia early this morning, and they caught Henry Jose Villatoro Santos. The interesting part about this guy, he's 24 years old, and according to this story, he was the alleged leader of the Mara Salvatruca gang. I don't know how to say it. I'm not trying. Anyway, it's an MS-13 gang. And he seems to be the leader of it. 24 is very young. But I'll tell you the interesting part about this, because my wife and I were watching TV this morning when the news broke. And we noticed something about this arrest, and we'll tell you about that in a little bit. Also, there was this. I'm going to play this in a bit. I don't want to get into it now because there's only a little bit of the show to get into. But, ladies, I want you to listen to this next segment as it comes up. Because what you're about to witness is going to be eye-opening for you. And I'm not talking about conservative women, because I don't have a problem. I don't have a doubt in my mind that conservative women agree with me on the debate about transgender women. I know that. And but there are liberal women who listen to the show. They hate listen to this show. I want you to hear for the audio that I'm going to play for you. And if you want to watch, just go to reasoontheradio.com, because you should actually see the video. It's important. And if I know liberal women, you listen to your black sisters because you don't think they get enough respect. It is an amazing piece of audio that you're not going to want to miss. And plus, if you want to, you can give us a call at 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842, and you could be the last but not least caller of the day. Even if you're going to call me and curse me out, you shouldn't play that. That's cheating. That's not fair. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. And it'll also be helpful for all of you out there who are having this conversation with people who disagree with you on the transgender issue. It's amazing what happens. I'll go so far as to give you a hint. Roland, can I use you for this demonstration? I'd like to use you for this demonstration. It's brilliant. Are you there, buddy? Okay. There what? So I want to use you for this demonstration. If you ever want to get your friend angry, let's say a female friend, you want to get her angry, just look at her and say, "You look beautiful. You remind me of Lizzo," and watch their reaction.
Now, why would I do that?
Ask yourself. Of course you wouldn't do it. Of course you wouldn't. But remember, body positive. Everybody tells you that Lizzo is gorgeous. She's beautiful. You're not allowed to say that she's not. So when you give a compliment to a woman, say, "You look absolutely, you remind me of, you're absolutely stunning. You remind me of Lizzo." And watch that woman have a conniption right in front of you.
Yikes.
Wait until you hear this. It's going to be amazing. We'll get to it in a second. Let's get some weather from Jason Catarinas and Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center with a lot of accidents out there, so listen close. Hey, Mark.
Hey, good afternoon, Reese. Good afternoon, everyone. Lizzo, by the way, has lost a lot of weight. 60 pounds, I guess.
So women will totally love being compared to her.
Yes, they will, especially after she lost all that weight. All right. Well, if you're heading into downtown Hartford right now and you're on the eastbound side of 84, look for slow traffic now from exit 41 up to 40. Actually, down into the tunnel now. East of the river is a little slow as you approach exit 59 into 384 interchange. Westbound 84 is tied up approaching the Bulkley Bridge out to exit 44 Prospect Oakwood. Southbound 91 delays 34 down to 32 A and B, and again down by exit 28. Northbound 91 dealing with an accident between exit 20 and 21 on the Middletown Cromwell line in the left lane. Delays are back to the Middletown rest area. After that, no problems. Hartford up into Windsor. 291's a little slow. I-91 over to the Bissell. 2 eastbounds moving well. Gloucester Danbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound slowing Harbor Park to the Aragoni Bridge. If you're traveling 84 eastbound into Waterbury, you got delays as you move between 16 and 17. Westbound 84 is tied up 25A up to the Mixmaster in Waterbury. 84 eastbound, very heavy this afternoon. 684 interchange in New York State all the way out to 5 in Danbury. Again, you're looking at delays from 8 in Danbury out to exit 11 in Newtown. If you are traveling toward New Haven, southbound side of the Parkway delays 60 into the West Rock Tunnel. 91 southbound delays from 4 in toward the 95 interchange. 95 southbound delays 46 down to 43 in New Haven. And 9 southbound, look for some slow traffic now as you move down between exit 37B and 35 in New Britain. The earlier road work between 35 and 33 has cleared from the right lane. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
Oh, partly cloudy and chilly tonight. The low down to 35. Turning cloudy on our Friday. Milder to round out the week. The high 58. Then a couple of showers. Steadier rain developing overnight on Friday. The low down to 44. Saturday, still occasional rain and drizzle, but mainly early in the day. The high 55. Still a passing shower or two on Sunday with the high of 50. Currently, it's 50 in Meriden, 48 in New Haven, 52 in Bridgeport, and 48 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is. You know who it is. You know who it is. It's Reese on the Radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, we're back. Like I said, if you wish to, call us up, 860-522-WTIC. You could be the last but not least caller of the day. So you could win a dozen bagels a month for 6 months, courtesy of Between Rounds, the Bagel Bakery and Sandwich Cafe, located in South Windsor, Manchester, and Vernon. And, of course, they've got locations in Tolan, East Windsor. I'm just working on it. We have a friend named Richard Tolan, and that's the reason why I say it the way that I do. As my wife just reminded me of. So I want to play this. And when I saw this, I said, wow, how could this woman not see this coming? But the guy who interviews her is brilliant. Now listen closely. This is at a transgender event. And there are plenty of transgender supporters at this event. And one of those men on the streets walks up to a black woman and asks her about her transition. And the woman gets offended while trying to defend transgender women are women. And then she stumbles. Just listen closely. You don't want to miss this. Just listen to how all of this unfolds right before her eyes.
Beautiful trans woman out here. Tell us about your transition, how it went.
Can I hold this, please?
No.
So I have a question for you. Why are you asking me those questions?
Like we're interviewing like trans women and stuff like that.
I'm not a trans woman. I'm a...
Oh, no, we're fully supportive. Do you want to talk about sort of transitioning or anything like that? Or like what people can...
I never transitioned because I was born a woman.
No, of course you're a woman. Of course.
Does it make a trans woman any less of a woman?
No, you are 100% a woman.
I'm not a trans woman.
Is there another definition that people like to use, or...
You thought I was a man?
Again, so look, I tell people all the time, you got to play this. These videos are out there. They're made to dispel this nonsense. This poor girl, she doesn't know what everything that she stood for crumbled when she was accused of being a trans woman. She immediately became offended. How dare you? And at the same time tried to defend them. No, they're women. If they are, but so why do you have a problem with being associated with them? Well, because I'm a woman. Yes, I know.
Beautiful trans woman out here. Tell us about your transition, how it went.
Can I hold this, please?
No.
So I have a question for you. Why are you asking me those questions?
Like we're interviewing like trans women and stuff like that.
I'm not a trans woman. I'm a...
Oh, no, we're fully supportive. Do you want to talk about sort of transitioning or anything like that? Or like what people can...
I never transitioned because I was born a woman.
No, of course you're a woman. Of course.
Does it make a trans woman any less of a woman?
No, you are 100% a woman.
I'm not a trans woman.
Is there another definition that people like to use? Or
You thought I was a man?
It just says, look, again, I know that you're going to be angry. You're going to say he took advantage of a poor, uneducated girl. But he didn't. He didn't. He was fully supportive. Was he trolling? Without a doubt. But he was expressing full and complete support. But she does not stand for what she believes. None of them do. And I'll say this to you, leftist women, neither do you. I know you're fake and phony. Some people don't. Some people think, and they call here and say it all the time, oh, they're just crazy and deranged, Reese on the radio. And I go, no, they're not. No, they're not. They're performance artists. That's all they are. They're performance artists. I had to watch the episode. Please, if you have Netflix, go watch season 7, episode 9 of Seinfeld. I had to watch it yesterday. I almost played it on the air today. Season 7, episode 9. It's the episode about the sponge. In fact, that's what it's called, the sponge. In the sponge episode, Elaine is trying to find the contraceptive, the sponge, because it's going off the market. And Kramer is participating in the AIDS walk, and he refuses to wear the ribbon. And they hunt him down and then attack him because he refuses to wear the ribbon. That's you people in a nutshell. Every one of you. You're just ribbon wearers. You don't stand by any of the cause. You have to wear the ribbon because, again, you can't support the thing you support unless you look like you're supporting it. You don't really have to put any effort in. You don't have to do anything. Just say that you support it and then stand by that. I support it. See, I've got a sticker. I remember getting into this argument. It was, in fact, it was I first came to Connecticut. And I was over at the power station. It's not here anymore, so I can say Power 104. It was the hip-hop station that was over here. In fact, we replaced D. Snyder. We're not going to take it. He was the morning show guy over at the rock station there. We took it over. And it was the beginning of the Iraq War. Remember that? It's the beginning of the Iraq War. And everybody had the yellow ribbon on their car. They were selling it everywhere. You had to have one on your car. It was your patriotic duty to have that placard on your car. And I didn't own a car when I first got to Connecticut in March of 2004. So we rented a car every day. I'll admit, we was getting paid pretty well, so we rented a car every day. So I rented a car every day, and everybody on the show kept saying, hey, why don't you put one of these yellow placards on the car? And I went, no. Why would I do that? They were like, don't you support the troops? I'm like, yeah, I support the troops. I was like, yeah, but how are you going to tell people that you support the troops if you don't have they were serious. Aren't you going to put one on your car? I'm like, yeah, I think I can do that without the sticker. Yeah, you don't support the troops. Why? You won't get a sticker. You refuse to get a sticker. I don't need to tell you or to show you that I have to have a sticker. Oh, and they made a big deal out of it. And then just to show them up, and this is how bad it was. This is how bad it was. So everybody at the station got a sticker. And I noticed something. I said, wait a minute. All of these stickers, they look like they were all purchased at the same place. So I was going through the parking lot for everybody at the station and all the other stations that were there. And I went and I took pictures of all of their stickers. And then I went down to the gas station and I found where they were buying them from. And they were from one company. And I went on the air and I said, all of you people with the stickers on your car, you got to take them off. They were like, why? I said, because they were made in China. You didn't even buy a sticker from the United States. You're all walking around with a support the troops sticker that was made in China. And the only people at that time who were selling them from in America. People were just buying them no matter what. Didn't matter where they were from. They were just grabbing it and putting it on there and supporting China while doing it. So I love making fun of them about that. Sure enough, people stopped putting the damn thing on their car. But it was hilarious. I loved every bit of it. And I love that episode of Kramer refusing. I was like, what do I have to wear it for? And that's what people are like. That's exactly what they're like. Let's go to Tom in Thomaston. Hey, Tom.
Reese, what's up?
Don't mention Big O today because I'm in the other studio and I don't have access to it.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Right.
Say again.
The guy wasn't he the Spanish gay guy that took the armoire too from Seinfeld or
yes,
one of the two.
Yes, in
his
fact,
accent,
yeah,
his accent when he said the ribbon, you do not wear the ribbon.
That's when they turned around, like the black guy says to him, he goes, hey, this guy ain't wearing a ribbon. He turns around and goes, who's not wearing the ribbon?
Yeah.
And they attack him. I always thought that was how much foresight did the Seinfeld and Larry David writers know that whole ribbon thing would, in essence, be our culture in the near future, that people would be doing that everywhere as a sign of their support. It's almost lazy. It's like lazy support of something.
Yeah, it is. I don't like Larry David's politics, but he was a really sharp and funny guy. I mean, he really gets to the point of a lot of cultural stuff.
But you know what? That's the interesting part. As a liberal guy, if you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm and the writing on Seinfeld, he made a lot of conservative points.
He did.
He really did. Like, what was brilliant was he poked fun at liberal culture. Like, that was his bread and butter. He sort of poked fun at all of the nonsense that is liberalism.
Yes, he on the when he gets arrested in Curb, I think it was the last season for giving that woman water.
Yes,
he's poking fun at both the conservatives, and then at the end he's poking fun at the liberals because they turn on him and I think they see a black mannequin in his car and they all turn on him for being a racist.
Yes,
or something.
exactly. Exactly.
I think that show's even better than Seinfeld.
It is, especially for a show that does a lot of improvisational development, like it's improvisational in its scripting. I think it's brilliant on that level. I need to watch a lot more of it. There's so many episodes that I've not seen of Curb Your Enthusiasm that I should go back and watch again. Maybe I might be able to find some great material from there. Thank you, buddy. Yeah. I appreciate you. Let's go to my good friend Kim in Cromwell. Kim, I'm going to let you talk about what you want to talk about, but I want to ask you about DCF if I could. If you heard the opening monologue about that family with the child who slipped and fell and how DCF got involved, I want to ask you about that. But what did you call
about it?
Oh, you had? Okay, I'll tell you about it in a second. What did you call about?
Okay, just to let the audience know, we had 2 setbacks in this trans stuff overnight.
Oh, wow.
We lost, I think, in the first Circuit Court of Appeals.
Yes.
A case, I think it's in Massachusetts, of a clear interference with parental rights in terms of this stuff. They had a kid who got caught up in this trend, and the school began to, get her help and inform the parents, but then did sort of a double take and continued with their curriculum and stuff. And it eventually led to a lawsuit. And unfortunately, the court ruled in favor of the school and everything. In other words, the government basically usurping the parental rights. So we have to hope that this is appealed immediately.
Right.
And then yesterday in Pennsylvania, a couple lawmakers, real loons, getting up there and testifying at a public hearing that women with just a little bit more elbow grease, they can do every single thing a man can do. So I'd like to see them lift, a TV set, things like that.
Right.
I mean, on the average, there will always be, based on a person's physical makeup.
Sure.
You'll have women who can outswim men or whatever, but you're not going to have Martina Navratilova play Pete Sampras in a tennis match. It's just so this thing again, and this is by lawmakers doing actual social engineering, that going with the science. And so I don't know if they can stop this in Pennsylvania, but we have to get this stuff to the Supreme Court.
That's exactly right. And you know what? It's usually cases like this are never denied by the Supreme Court. We get a lot of stuff that gets thrown out, but cases like these, never.
Yeah, I'm hoping it can go. Hopefully, I don't know if they can get it on the calendar this year. I think this stuff is going on too long. But certainly by next year, they've got to resolve this because it's killing the country. And I'm going to hope for a 7-2 verdict in common sense.
Gotcha. Okay, so with a minute that I have left, let me tell you briefly what the story was. So apparently a family had a child, 12 years old at the time, back in 2022, had slipped on the ice, and he ended up missing school. Now, even though the parent was in communications with the school about his injury and the fact that he could not get special transportation to the school, the school was forced, or not say forced, it is their policy that they must contact DCF to make sure that, one, the child is in good care, the child is taken care of. It is a sort of like a requirement that the school contacts DCF so that they do a home visit, no matter what. So as I'm hearing the story from this parent yesterday, I'm saying to myself, is there anything, I'm thinking to myself, if DCF is required to be contacted by the school to check up on this kid, imagine if that's the case when there are truancy cases that are through the roof in Hartford.
Oh, yeah, it's the truancy. Now, when you think, say, slipping on ice, the first thing that's going to happen, if you fall backward, you're going to probably get a concussion.
Right.
So that is going to wind up in some time off.
Right.
There because you have to go through the whole concussion phenomena.
But I've only got a couple of seconds. But what I want to do is, Kim, if you can call earlier, just so I can spend some time with you, I really believe that there is a connection between the overcrowd. I mean, the over all of the caseload that is on DCF and the truancy problem. I want to talk a little bit about that if we can tomorrow. Okay. I love you. Thank you, Kim. Always a pleasure when you call in. She's got to call in early because she's really, really great in this space. All right, we got to get up out of here. We are back on regular radio tomorrow. We'll find out what the score is. Good luck, Red Sox. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese On The Radio. Jason Calorinas has got your weather, and Mark Christopher has got all the traffic all over the place in the BPS traffic center.
Yeah, it's finally starting to settle down a little bit, Reese. Southbound 91 delays, Hartford 33 down to 32 A and B, and again down by exit 20.
All right, good, sir.
91 just a little slow getting back to 20
to normal tomorrow.
Country Club Road.
Yeah, next week going to be crazy, though.
Oh, it's a lot of games during the day, isn't it?
It's like 3-day games next week.
About the 35 Flatbush.
Like
84
during the
eastbound
show?
is tied up.
Yeah.
3 Park Road down.
One of them for the whole show. A couple of them for like the first hour. So, yeah.
Glastonbury to Marlboro.
All right.
9 North.
All right.
Aragoni Bridge.
I'll let you tomorrow.
You got it.
If you're traveling into Waterbury, 84 eastbound, sluggish 17 to 18 westbound.
All right, everybody. Thank you. You're very kind, Lori. You guys have a very, very good night. Thank you all. Yeah, understaffed at DCF. That indeed. We're going to talk a little bit about that tomorrow as well on a regular show. Love you guys. Y'all be good. And see you then. Be good to each other.